So we did, as you recall, the Chancery staff, we did have a mass on Father Piderit's last day before he moved back east. And he had a chance to go down his litany of thanks. But I just want to hit on a few highlights to thank him now more formally and fully. So some of you on the Chancery staff might remember years ago when I explained how I decided to ask him to take the job of Vicar of Administration Moderator of Curia. This was in 2014. So Father Tarantino, Monsignor Tarantino, the rest in peace, had decided to step down from the job and become a full-time pastor. And I was really strapped as to who to turn to, who would have had the expertise and background to assume that job. And as I was racking my brain, I knew somewhere in my life there was someone who, when I had a meeting coming up, he would give me these points I needed to cover and kind of write out what I needed to say. He was really good at preparing me for these meetings and helping me think through issues. And I was just having a hard time. Then I realized it was because Father Piderit was helping out with the seminary administration along with Melanie. Thank you. Welcome, Melanie Mori. And then I remember, it was Father Piderit who would help me with that. And I felt so supported and with such confidence. So that's when I asked him to assume the role. And I realized what a right choice that was. Of course, he's famous for how hardworking he is. I think most of you know that many days he was in the office by 4:30 a.m. And that's after he prayed the office.
For the whole day.
The whole divine office for that whole day. Who knows, maybe for the whole
Archbishop did not approve of that.
At least the whole day. I was educated by the Jesuits, but not formed by them. He exemplified many qualities of consistency with his work ethic, and his integrity, and his loyalty, which to me all meant reliability. He was always reliable. I could count on him to always deliver what had to be done. I could always count on him in telling me what he really thought should be done, helping me think through the issues, and there was never any doubt there about his reliability. So he was truly an excellent collaborator. I must say, one of the best collaborators I've ever worked with. He gives a lot of advice, but he also listens well. And even though as smart as he is, he has tons of practical wisdom. He does not insist that his opinion prevail. That he would really help me think things through thoroughly, but whatever decision I would eventually make, he would accept and work with that. So there's so many ways through these years that he's given me that practical support. I can remember when I was starting the Benedict XVI Institute, this was kind of a new territory for me. He knew a lot of the practicalities involved in starting a new organization, new corporation. He was there right by my side, getting the board of directors started, the articles of incorporation, attending the first few meetings of the board. It was kind of like the training wheels, getting that off the ground. Then when we got running, he stepped back and let it assume. So he was there to assist, support, and get us moving, but did not impose himself on it. Exactly the kind of support that we needed. And there was so much work to be done in terms of, trying to get better control of the Chancery finances and always handling the ongoing issues of Chancery personnel, that his expertise was invaluable. And other projects, initiatives that I would take, most especially I would say that the promoting of the spirituality of stewardship. So this was something I introduced into the Archdiocese. I really think it is the overarching spirituality that incorporates all of our Christian spirituality and its different aspects of how we live that out practically in our day-to-day life. And I think that was probably something new to you, but he took to the ground running and really became the greatest champion of stewardship in the Archdiocese. And many of you are here because your parishes have taken on the spirituality of stewardship. You were willing to be the guinea pigs and piloting the wisdom that has been taught by the church for a long time now. And I don't think we would have made the progress we did without Father Piderit's leadership there. He also gave me the idea of the Archbishop Circle. So a circle of donors who would be willing to give an additional donation in addition to what they were giving already to help additional projects for the Archdiocese, which could not be funded otherwise, and was there, again, consistently building up that circle of donors so we could take on many more projects, whether it was invocations and teaching parishes on social media, the Lourdes pilgrimage for the seminarians and potential seminarians to Lourdes, supporting special events in the Archdiocese, such as the Walk for Life, the Rosary Rally, and so many other things. Marketing our Catholic schools is another. Most of all, though, I think his qualities and his leadership came through to me and were really a lifesaver when we went through the crisis over the teacher's contract and handbook addendum. That was a real, I have to say, I'll say very personally, it was one of the hardest crises in my whole life. I felt under such intense pressure, I didn't know how I was going to get through it. But Father Piderit was there. He was like a solid rock, and he had so much wisdom and assurance that things were going to be able to work out. And I don't know, honestly, how I could have gotten through that without him. He has, again, so much practical wisdom, and it showed all the more. I've seen this manifested so many ways, but especially there. He's the eternal optimist. He always sees the bright side, and he can see the positive way forward. So that's a really good counterbalance to me. I tend to focus on the problems, on the obstacles, on the gloom and doom. So having that light in my life really helped get me through very tense situations, such as that and others as well. And in all of that, I'm also impressed by the serenity with which he accepts whatever life deals him. And even now, this current call to leave the Archdiocese and return to his province. Well, it's now your province. You're in what used to be the Boston province, but it's now, or the, what's the name? The
U.S. East. USA East.
Yeah. But whatever it is, this serenity, because he always sees a positive way out. He always sees that good things are going to happen. And so I could say that really nothing phases him. It's amazing to me how nothing phases him. The reason for that, I think, is his indomitable faith. He always places his gifts at the service of the church, not of himself. He's never looking for his own glory, only the greater glory of God. So thank you, Father Piderit. Ad Majorem Dei Gloria.
Thank you very much, Archbishop. Of course, it's been a delight for me to work with the Archbishop and with all of you. And all of you have made it easier, especially under stewardship. Florian, every priest has someone who does most of the work. Florian does most of the work for me on this, and now is doing all this on stewardship. And the same thing was for one of my main goals was to try and make our Catholic schools more Catholic. Pam does a great job on it. Where was Pam when it was over here before? Oh, there she is. But Melanie Maury was particularly important in that whole operation. Archbishop, I want to tell you one story which I don't think you've heard this before. It involves one of the, well, I'll open about it. It involves one of the bishops. The one who's now currently down in San Diego. And it was during this whole school thing. And Bishop McElroy, in the conversation I had with him, said to me, "John, he's wrong. This is not going to pass. This will never pass." And I said, "Bob, you're wrong. It's going to pass. I'm going to make sure it passes." Now, it passed by a very small margin. I admit that. And the Archbishop was astute in making a number of adjustments to make sure that it was received. But to me, it was one of the most important things that we did. And, you know, in one sense, we spoke with many other dioceses. And one of the things the other dioceses said, "What's the big problem? These are Catholic schools. Of course they should be doing these things." Well, I think now that's much more accepted because of the work that Melanie had done, and also Tim Navone is here from Marin Catholic. They've been at the forefront of introducing this. Ryan Mayer is here, is going to take over from Melanie Morin. Also, I saw before, is my successor, Patrick Summerhays? Oh, right here. It's his birthday today. So they've been all excellent people here. Now, I also have to single out Joe. The Archbishop mentioned, when we came in, it was clear we didn't have a sufficient base to collect money to support what we're doing at the Chancery. And I spoke to the Archbishop. I said, we have to get to this up a little bit. I gave him data on the thing. We have to get it up to 20%. He went along with that. And then I thought we had gotten it to a point where, okay, so Archbishop, now we can present this to the Presbyteral Council. And the Archbishop says, "Well, John, I think it would be better if you went around to each deanery and persuaded each deanery that this is something in their interest to do." So I swallowed a little bit hard on that because I knew that some of these deaneries would be quite difficult. But with Joe's help, we went to each one of the deaneries. We made the presentation. We showed what the benefits were on the thing over the previous system. And in the end, then it was presented to the Presbyteral Council and also to the College of Consultants, and it was approved by a large majority. There were one or two against it. And that was a very good thing to do, and I understood, only after we were doing it did I understand that that was fairly important for him to do, because the Archbishop had just had this enormous pressure with the schools. You know, and it didn't make sense that he would then have to bear pressure for the financial part of it as well. So I think I've enjoyed my time completely here, working with all the different groups. I will say in the COVID period, I was delighted that something happened which I really should not have done. You know, the Missionaries of Charity didn't have priests to go and say Mass, and it was supposed to be the younger ones. I counted myself as younger. So I would, at least 3, usually 4 days a week, I had Masses for the different groups of the Missionaries of Charity. And the Archbishop just had a profession on Monday. They're totally, I mean, they're so impressive. And such a strict life, and they're delightful. That all during the COVID thing, that was a real boost for me. I was not able to get to, in fact, Father Joe Fessio is here, and he's part of the Jesuit community at St. Ignatius High School. I was not allowed to go over there.
I'm not either now, by the way.
Well, that's justified in your case.
Yeah.
There were sufficient supports, many supports here, and I enjoyed working. Now the final thing, I have been just delighted to out in Cambridge to read all this great stuff. I thought the reception of the pastoral letter was just fabulous that the Archbishop wrote recently. It really made a national impact. It was very well done. It was concise. It was persuasive, and it set the road for future discussions. You know, and those are going to they will take place. Those will happen. The very last thing, so people ask, what am I doing? Many of you know that I have this sabbatical to finish writing a book. I have written a book on science and religion, and now I need a publisher. I'll be speaking to Father Piderit.
What's it worth to you?
He does.
I want a circle of friends.
But then, what I'm going to do next year, I've spoken with the provincial. There are a couple of different plans, but the one that looks like it's going to happen is I probably will be teaching at Boston College, probably one course in economics, which is my area, and maybe another one in the School of Theology and Ministry in parish management, or something related to diocesan management. And then I would move over to Boston College, to the Jesuit community there, which is quite large. They have about 70 Jesuits in their community. So I hope to get around to everyone. Thank you all. Oh, I'm sorry, I got to point out. So the Bishop Gerasimus, the Metropolitan Gerasimus, is here. And thank you for coming. And behind him is, many of you know, Yvonne. Yvonne is the one who lived over at North Beach with me in the rectory of St. Francis of Assisi. Okay, and now he's at St. Philip's, along with Father Liebner here. So there are many more to point out, but because I know all you want to get to different places, we'll stop there. Anything you want to add, Archbishop?
For he's a jolly good fellow.
For he's a jolly good fellow.
For he's a jolly good fellow, which nobody can deny.
Which
Nobody can deny. Nobody can deny. For he's a jolly good fellow. For he's a jolly good fellow. For he's a jolly good